Welcome to Aarti's Education. Today we are going to learn about fractions. We are familiar with fractions, about their numerator, denominator, and how to write them easily with the given figure. Let's revise it. In fraction, look here. In fraction 2 upon 3, 2 is a numerator. We called it numerator. And 3 is a denominator. Numerator always written on the upper side and denominator always written on the down side of the fraction. Above this line, we always write numerator, and below this line, we always write denominator. We know it very well. When one bhakri is divided equally between two people, each one will get half a bhakri. How can we write this fraction? We written it as 1 upon 2. Half means 1 upon 2. In this fraction, 1 is numerator and 2 is a denominator. Just you see here, I draw one figure. This figure have 3 parts. And from 3 parts, 1 part is colored. So how can I write this fraction? I write it as upon 3 parts, 1 is colored. So I write it 1 upon 3. Now we are going to learn about equivalent fractions. What are the equivalent fractions? So the fractions which have equal values are called equivalent fraction. In this standard, we learn about equivalent fractions, like fractions, and operations on them. Equivalent fractions. So what are the equivalent fractions? Fractions which have equal value are called equivalent fractions. For example, 1 upon 2, 2 upon 4, 3 upon 6. These are the equivalent fractions. How? Let's take one example so you better understand it. Here I draw one figure. Look at the figure. Here I draw one figure. It has 5 equal parts. From these parts, this one and this one is colored. There are 2 colored parts. How can I write this fraction? I write it as 2 upon 5 because there are 5 parts and 2 were colored. So I write it as 2 upon 5. From this figure, when I draw another one line across the same figure like this, now the figure has how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. It has a 10 parts now. And from them 1, 2, 3 and 4 parts were colored. So I write the given fraction as 4 upon 10. Now observe these two fractions. Observe the figure also. The colored part of figure has not changed. It has same portion, but figure is now divided into 10 equal parts. Therefore, 2 upon 5 is equal to 4 upon 10. Both have same values. We see that the colored part has not changed. So, both 2 upon 5 and 4 upon 10 have same values. And when we observe these two fractions, the numerator of one fraction is as many times the numerator of the other. Look here. For it means when we multiply 2 by 2, we get the number 4. And when we multiply 5 by 2, we get the number 10. Means as the denominator of one is of the denominator of other. When we divided it by 2, we get the fraction 2 2s are 4 and 2 5s are 10. The same fraction we get here. So these are with equal values. These fractions are called equivalent fractions. Just like look towards our example, we write here 1 upon 2, 2 upon 4 and 3 upon 6. When we divided 2 upon 4, we get the fraction 2 1s are 2 and 2 2s are 4. The fraction here we get is 1 upon 2. When we divided 3 upon 6, 3 1s are 3 and 3 2s are 6. Here also we get the fraction 1 upon 2. Means all these three fractions have equal value. So they are called equivalent fractions. Now we are also going to learn about like fractions. What are the like fractions? Fractions whose denominators are equal are called like fraction. The definition of like fraction is fractions whose denominators are equal are called like fractions. Means when we write fraction as 3 upon 7, 4 upon 7, 9 upon 7, look at the denominators of each fraction. They are here the denominator is 7, here is also 7, and here is also 7. So this such a fractions called like fractions. And the second type of fraction is unlike fraction. This is useful to us while solving problem set. Unlike fractions. Unlike fractions means what? It is exactly opposite of like fractions. Fractions whose denominators are not equal, they are called unlike fractions, or which have different denominators. Fractions which have different denominators, or whose denominators are different. You can write in both ways. Are called unlike fractions. For example, 1 upon 2, 4 upon 11, 3 upon 7, etc. For identify the like fractions and unlike fractions, you just have to see their denominators, look at their denominators, and find whether their denominators are same or not. In next videos, we are going to learn about converting unlike fractions into like fractions. Then we are going to solve the problems of the fractions, their operations. Then we are going to compare them, add them, and subtract them. Also, we are going to multiply them. This is the introduction of our fractions. Chapter 5. Let's see you in the next video, and remember and recite the equivalent fraction, unlike fraction, and like fractions very well. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.